I am so happy to be back. We have tied Ismael Perez down from his amazing travels and talks, which we're going to be finding more about for another update. So much always to talk to you about, Ismael. You're one of my favorite guests. Well, you probably are, because there's so many different areas we can always go with these conversations, and I always learn so much. But you have been on your travels, haven't you, and meeting lots of people and really expanding your consciousness. Just tell us what you've been up to.
Well, I've been living my dream. I feel like I've been in my element, going to these conferences and revealing the next level of disclosure and meeting all kinds of beautiful, interesting, high-vibing people who are like-minded in a positive atmosphere that supports, you know, this kind of information. And to me, that is a blessing. I feel like I was, born for this, and I'm excited, to connect with others of like-minded similarities. So it's been amazing. It's been a little stressful. I'm not gonna say it's all colors and rainbows, but the trips sometimes, like when I miss a flight, I have to wait 3 or 4 hours before catching the next flight. And hanging out in that airport sometimes, I take advantage of the time, and I'll probably do some research or meditate. But overall, my trip has been amazing. I've had an opportunity to meet Vivian Chevet, who is an Arcturian contactee, JJ Hortak and his wife, Desiree Hortak, who is the author of the Book of Knowledge, the Keys of Enoch, which is really the cornerstone, the cornerstone of all this galactic and cosmic information. And many in the spiritual and disclosure community see his book as the new Bible, in a sense where it's a blueprint. It was channeled, of course, he channeled the information. It's a blueprint of what's going on with, dimensions, who we are, ties it in with galactic stuff. But of course, in my book, I go more into detail. His book is more like just giving you the overall general understanding of things. And I also had a chance to meet other people. Like
Yeah.
there's just so many people out there. Oh, yes, I forget her name. She's Caroline Corey. Caroline Corey is amazing. She's been doing this for many, many years in the disclosure community, putting out information about ETs and contacts and different sightings that have been taking place. Anybody else? Oh, the other lady, I can't think of her name, but she's been around forever. She's in her 80s. What's her name? I can't think of her name right now, but the whole point is I had an opportunity to meet some of these legends, people that have been doing this for like 30 to 40 years. And to me, that was like a blessing, because these are like my heroes.
Yeah. It's so great when you really follow your heart and follow your purpose. And, one of the things I've really, my perception, Ishmael, is since you've sort of been talking on a wider basis, and obviously anyone who hasn't got, this is the first edition of Ishmael's book. Obviously the new edition looks a bit different, Our Cosmic Origin, but you can really see people come into their light when they're really following their purpose and their unique gift. And that's what you've been doing, and it's just a real joy to sort of see you expanding that knowledge out. And as you say, meeting people that have been doing this for such a long while, it must be amazing for them to be meeting also people like you, where they can see this hasn't been in vain, because it's been a long, hard journey for a lot of people in the disclosure community.
Yes, I agree. When they heard my presentation, even JJ Hortak's wife came on stage and said, Ishmael, I wasn't sure about you at first. I have heard about you, but after hearing your presentation today, the way you put everything together in this cosmic story that you have to tell, she goes, my mind is literally blown. She went up stage and she literally shook my hand at the Ascension Portal Conference, which was 2 weeks ago in San Diego. And to me, that was an honor to have Desiree Hurtak, and also JJ. JJ has the husband, complimented me. And after my presentation, me and him had a little chat, and he was just, he was, I don't want to say blown away, but he was very intrigued. He says, I'm very knowledgeable, and, it's an honor to meet somebody else who is going to take this to the next level.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing to get his words in. And, of course, I thanked him and I said, hey, JJ, you're a hero. You're like one of the pioneers of this whole disclosure movement. And I just wanted to say that you inspired me. And, so we had a little moment, personal conversation. But the whole point was, I'm meeting so many people out there that have been doing this for many years.
Yeah. And why do you think it's all coming together now? There's definitely moving up, isn't it, in terms of exposure and people understanding it, in terms of people searching for this knowledge. How do you think it's helping those of us that are really going through our own individual awakenings to understand some of this information about our cosmic origin and really sort of put some of our human history into perspective?
Well, because things are about to shift on a collective. We are approaching so many cycles that are ending at this time, that are coming into synchronization. And so what's really been going on since 1987, since the harmonic conversion, is this push towards humanity's awakening so that the planet as a whole could be prepared for cosmic and galactic citizenship. So this is where it's all headed. The Earth's quarantine, as I mentioned before, has been isolated for thousands of years due to the infiltration of the negative Anunnaki through Enki and Marduk, who is Baal, Satan of Babylon. We had to be quarantined, right? Because of the fact that they wanted to narrow the battle down to just the solar system. But because we have won the war in space, and it's just a matter of now cleaning house here in our solar system. The Earth is no longer in quarantine. In fact, within the private sector, the Earth has already been initiated into the United Federation of Planets. And that's just our local star cluster that we belong to, which consists of 52 different solar systems and approximately about 600 to 900 worlds. So we're already initiated into that little confederation known as the United Federation of Planets. Venus is a huge proponent in that. And of course, the Jupiter command is a huge proponent in that. But in turn, once disclosure takes place, then the regular person, the average person, is going to understand galactic and space phenomena.
Yeah.
For the first time in thousands of years, because of all this information that is going to be coming forward. And that's really the true meaning of apocalypse. When you study the book of Revelation, it has nothing to do with the end of the world. It's really just a terminology that means a huge revelation is coming. But that huge revelation has already started in increments. I mentioned J.J. Hortak was a cornerstone in that. Even what's her name? Dolores Cannon.
Yeah.
There is just so many, that lay the foundation. My book is like just, putting in all these pieces together for people who want to know beyond the Anunnaki and, UFO sightings and crop circles, and really understand the bigger galactic story. But really, it's all these increments are leading towards a huge avalanche of just massive disclosure. And when that happens, that's when the Earth is going to be, as a whole, or even the normie is going to come to understand, this higher information, this higher understanding. And that's when the Earth is going to be, once again, part of the galactic community.
Yeah. And
but it's already starting from behind the scenes,
It really is, isn't it? And one of your things that you posted on Instagram today was so timely, because it was something I was going to ask you about anyway, about heaven being a vibrational state that we can unearth, that we can all step into. Can you talk us through a bit more your thoughts on that? Because that's just such a key concept, I think, for everyone to understand at the moment.
Well, first we have to understand that according to quantum physics, all the dimensions are occupying the same space at the same time. Dimensions aren't locations, and they are not, how can I say it? They're all here at the same time. They're all occupying the same space. So we could look at dimensions like Russian roulette, what is it called? Russian roulette dolls?
Roulette.
Thank you. The one is stacked upon the other. So when we shift our vibration, what we do is all we do is tune in to the next vibrational frequency, which is already here. So by tuning into that vibrational frequency, we actually disconnect from our third dimensional reality and we plug it into a higher dimensional reality. And many people have already started doing that. A lot of people that are living in that state of, first living from the heart, waking up with gratitude, right? That's the big proponent for fifth dimensional heaven on earth living. You have to have absolute gratitude. You have to live from your heart. And then with that comes understanding that God is in everything and everyone and every living thing, including animals, elements, planets, stars, galaxies, the universe. It's all embedded with God consciousness. And then once you come to understand that, then you begin to live in harmony and in cooperation with everything. And then you adapt you become inclined towards like service to others. At that point, you just want to serve the collective and the whole, because when you're serving the whole, you're serving yourself. So as more and more people begin to do that, we're going to bring forth heaven on earth. But the whole point is that even Jesus, Joshua ben Joseph, stated that, heaven is not to be expected. Heaven is already all around us. It's just that people don't see it. What he meant, it was that it's a higher dimension. It's all the dimensions are all coexisting at the same time in the same space. So it's just a matter of shifting our own personal vibrational frequency and attuning it into that particular frequency so that we could experience that reality. I like to, like I explained in my book, I actually break it down really good in my book, Our Cosmic Origin. See it as like the different radio stations. There are so many different radio stations and television stations, and they're all occupying the same space at the same time. And the only time we interact with a particular station or interface with a particular station is when we tune in by dialing, say this particular station, the classical rock music. Then we listen to classical rock or classic rock, or now we want to listen to classical music, or now we want to listen to, disco music. So that's how the dimensions exist. Depending on where your frequency is, that's your interface to dial into that particular realm or reality. But they're all here at the same time. It's just that we don't see them because our consciousness through our senses, just like as revealed in the movie The Matrix, we're programmed to only perceive this limited reality called the third dimension, where in essence there is so much beyond the third dimension. And even Plato, in one of his books, Plato, the Greek philosopher, talked about the allegory of the cave. And the analogy that he used is that imagine how, in terms of like how we're only tuned in to a fraction of the total reality potential, right? He used the idea that imagine these figures who are looking at their shadows their whole life. They were raised in a cave and all they knew was their shadows in the cave. They didn't know anything else. And then one day, one of these individuals decides to, crawl out of the cave to see what's beyond the cave. And when he puts his head outside of the cave after he crawls all the way up, he sees trees and birds and lands and skies and clouds. And he's like, oh my God, what is this? He's not used to that type of, reality. So the whole point of the allegory of the cave is that people who live in the third dimension are like those people in the cave who are only perceiving their shadows. They don't realize that there is more to reality than just the obvious.
Yeah.
And so that's put out that video, because a lot of people are expecting heaven to come. They're expecting an external savior to fall from the sky. And when it comes down to it, it all boils down to our own individual work, and coming to understand that we are all it. Every single one of us has the potential to become the Christ by what? By attuning into that frequency of unity, love, unconditional love, compassion, understanding, and gratitude. And then once you attune into that and you live it and you become an example, then you are living in fifth dimensional reality and everything just falls into place for you. And that's what Jesus said when he talked to Thomas, when he told Thomas, doubting Thomas, they called him, when Thomas said, I think Thomas asked him, well, how can we bring happiness? How can we bring joy into our lives? And Jesus, I think he said in his response, let me see if I can remember, the book of Thomas was one of the books that was left out. They called him Doubting Thomas because he always questioned Jesus. But the whole point is that he did tell Thomas that once you put all your focus into the things that matter, into the things that are good, from the heart, then everything just falls into place. Like, this is what he said. He says, once you seek the kingdom of God, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I read the Bible. Once you seek the kingdom of God within yourself, everything just falls into place. Once you find it, which is something that we, find within ourselves, then everything just falls into place, and then the kingdom is externalized. So first is a process that has to be internalized, and then it becomes externalized. That's the whole point of that, I guess, scripture.
Yeah. And it's the messages are so consistent, aren't they? Regardless of where you get the information from, the ancient mystery schools, some of the scriptures, some of the spiritual teachings about finding that message within ourselves, about finding the way that we have to step into the vibration, and then it will come. We can't wait for the external things to satisfy us and then change our mindset. And I think you've really demonstrated that you've been doing that yourself, and look at the opportunities that are now opening up for you and will continue to do so. I mean, so many people find these concepts so hard to believe. And do you think that there's this fine balance, Ismael, between people understanding enough about what's going on in the world, but not letting that consume them and not staying there in that vibration? Because I think that can hold a lot of people back, even when we look at the people that, what I prefer to call the seekers rather than the truthers, where they're constantly seeking answers and to understand what's going on in their own worlds and the wider worlds. If you stay too much in that vibration, it can bring you back down again, do you think?
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's why, there's that famous statement that says energy goes where attention, energy flows where attention is, or
Yeah,
energy.
energy flows where attention goes.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
very true. That's why I always remind people, you have the choice to choose what you want to, put in your mind, what you want to watch, what you want to see. Stay away from all the negative stuff, because by putting your mind, or by listening to the negative stuff, you're actually giving it, you're giving it existence. You don't want to put your consciousness into that. You want to just stay in I guess, a no mind zone, where you're just in that state of mind where you're in that zen, that peace, and only focus on what's positive. Stay away from the negative stuff.
Yeah. That,
Because a lot of people are afraid. There's a
yes.
lot of people are getting scared. Well, there's going to be this fake alien invasion, Project Blue beam. It's not going to happen. The Guardians are here. The Guardians are not going to allow anything negative to happen, and they haven't.
Yeah, absolutely. So for you on a personal level at the moment, what do you think you've learned most about yourself over the last sort of year or so? Have there been things that have come out that have surprised yourself?
Well, I'm always learning. I'm always learning things. Um, I always keep my cup empty. It's because I don't believe that, knowledge has an end. I think it's eternal. The more we know, the more we come to understand that we don't know.
Mm.
But in the last year, what I've come to know is that no matter what, don't take anything personal.
Mm.
Because, ever since I came into the limelight about 9 months ago, I came out of nowhere, people are saying, and all of a sudden I was everywhere. And so that caused some individuals to doubt me. And, I came to understand that if there's going to be some negative commentators who are going to put out negative information about me because I came out of nowhere and all of a sudden I was everywhere, that's just their own projection, their own insecurities, their own perhaps envy, whatever it may be. And I choose to not respond, and to not, I don't give it any energy. I just I learned how to just not take nothing personal. And that's one of the things that I learned. Yeah, coming into the limelight and reaching a lot of people, is that you're always going to have those haters no matter what, because
Yeah.
there's going to be envy, there's going to be jealousy. Every time somebody is successful, there's always going to be a few individuals that are gonna hate that, hate upon you because of that. And so I decided from the beginning, because I was prepped. My guardian angels and the galactics that I work with told me, okay, Ishmael, your book is going to hit your book is going to, be read by many people. It's going to become a hit, an international hit. But you have to prepare yourself mentally, because with that comes a lot of people that are going to throw negative energy at you, say negative things about you, your AI, you're a CIA plant, whatever, anything to be, to to try to I guess convince people that you are not, the real deal. I guess it's the word that comes. But the whole point is, I I was told that that was going to happen. I was already informed that that was going to happen, and from the beginning, they told me that the best thing to do is to just let it happen. It's
Yeah.
it's part of your work. You know, what's more important to me though, Catherine, is that I've helped so many people. Like, I think thousands and thousands of people that have reached out to me personally. Not all of them, but a few hundreds have reached out so far, thanking me for the work that I do, thanking me for the book that I wrote. Many people were awakened because of my information. Many star seeds were activated. And so when I get all this positive feedback that I've helped so many people in a positive way, that brings tears to me. That tells me that I'm actually doing something good for the collective. And to me, that's what matters. That's why I
Yeah.
don't really pay attention to the negative stuff. Um, and I don't take nothing personal. You know how many people, Catherine, have told me that they were on the verge of committing suicide, and then they discovered me and I gave them hope. Um, just from from who I've interacted with and some of my book signings and who I've received DMs from, maybe about 15 people have told me that. Now, these are just people that have a way to get a hold of me or went to my event. Now, imagine all those other people
Mm.
that couldn't attend my event, or don't have social media, or perhaps have social media, but I couldn't get to their DMs. The fact that I was I impacted people who were about to, end their lives in a way where I gave them hope, and they're still alive because of me. To me, that is, it's just amazing. Like, that's why I don't care about the negative stuff. As long as I'm helping people and I'm impacting the collective, that's all that matters.
I just
You know,
think that is such an important message, because there's so many people that allow their dreams to be crushed because of other people's opinions. And, this is so, so sad when we see this happen. And it is one of Don Miguel Ruiz's 5 agreements, is to not take anything personally. And I think when you master that, that takes you on a completely different vibrational level to a lot of people. So good job. I sort of have days when I master that and days when I don't. So I can't say I'm necessarily there yet, but I'm definitely on the way to getting there. And what have you learned most about humanity? So have there been some surprises for you recently? And have there been some areas of real hope for you when you look at where we're at humanity wise and the people that you're attracting?
well, the people that I'm attracting, they're all positive individuals. We're all in the same vibe. Um, very selfless, very humble. But what I've come to understand is that not everybody in the spiritual community is pure, even though they claim to be pure. Um, it has been brought to my attention that there are little groups of individuals who arrange these cuddle buddies scenarios where they get to explore group sex or orgies. I was warned about that, and when I found out about, I didn't even know that was possible or that even existed. But when I first heard about that, it made me like just think to myself like, whoa, that's not good. you know So of course I put out a video warning people about that. That is not good. That is unethical, immoral. You don't just go to this group settings and share your sexual energy with just anybody, in a group setting with multiple people at the same time. The sexual energy is sacred. You don't know what these people are carrying within their auric field, demons, archons, whatever parasites they might have. And there are these things called spiritual STDs. So you have to be careful. That's why I don't agree with that. The group orgy idea. It's, there are certain people within the spiritual they call it new age community, I guess, that practice that. And to me, that is not in alignment with goodness. But I also came to understand that even the normies who are still unawakened, it's really not their fault.
Yeah.
They don't really know any better. Nobody's really there. Nobody was really there to teach them the truth about things. And, they've been bombarded with all these frequency waves, cell towers, the waves that are coming from their television, from their, laptops. It's all designed to keep their mind numb. So it's really not their fault, So, yeah, I've came to understand that, both groups that are awakened, they're not totally perfect. There's still a lot of people with ego within the spiritual awakened community that have to learn how to tame their ego. And then I came to understand that even within the unspiritual or the unawakened community, the normies, they're still good people. A lot of them have good hearts. They just don't know any better. So that's what I've come to learn, with all this in the last year.
I love it. I mean, some of the kindest, most giving people I know, we would classify in the non-awake group, but they really are some of the most community-minded, kindest people. And I think this fits in really nicely to what you were saying about the vibrational frequency of heaven and earth, is we can't get to that frequency when we're still holding on to such judgments of others. Because we know that we're holding on to judgments of others, deep down we're holding on to a lot of judgments of ourselves, and that's going to hold us all back. I mean, I know it's a bit of a cliche question that you get asked a lot, but for people that are listening to this and they're thinking, yeah, I recognize this in myself, which I think is a fantastic step in itself, give us some of your tips again for people that haven't heard them before about the work that you've been doing on yourself for years now that are helping you to let go of judgment, that are really helping you to not take things personally and move into these higher vibrational states.
Well, it has a lot to do with first learning how to forgive yourself. We have to first learn how to forgive ourselves because we weren't always good to ourselves, in a sense where, for instance, there was a time where I was an alcoholic, I damaged my body. I haven't drinking in over 20 years, but the whole point is you learn how to forgive yourself, and then after you learn how to forgive yourself, you have to remember everybody that has ever wronged you, and then you have to just forgive them, and so forgiveness is like a big part of this inner healing journey. That's how we heal ourselves. Because a lot of the traumas and a lot of the wounds that we carry are unhealed because of certain people that did us wrong, or so we have to go within and kind of clear that by forgiving everyone, forgiving your mom and dad. They did you wrong, in a sense. Not all parents are perfect. My mother used to hit me with belts. I forgave her for that. You have to learn how to forgive, people that, like, for instance, I used to be bullied in high school, and I learned how to forgive my bullies. And I even ran into one of them recently.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, at the grocery store, and I just said, "Hey, Victor, I understand that you put me through a lot of hell in high school, but you know what, brother? I love you. I forgive you." And he looked at me and goes, "Are you a born again Christian or something?" And I was like, "Well, I don't categorize myself in a religious box, but you could say that I've evolved. I forgive you." He goes, "Okay," because I'm like much bigger than him now.
Yeah, fantastic.
He's shorter and not muscular, and he was shaking the whole time. He thought I was going to pick him up and slam him, but no, I'm a gentle giant. So we have to learn how to forgive everyone that has ever done us wrong. You have to go within yourself and just heal every trauma, every wound. that's the only way to do it, and once you do that, then you come to a place where you just really appreciate everything, even the smallest things you appreciate. And that's what it's all about for me. That's how I did it. Now I could, take my dog for a walk and appreciate the butterfly and the little squirrel that's running around and the acorn that falls from the tree. Like, I appreciate everything. I just see the beauty in everything now. So that's how I did it, so.
It's such a gift. I mean, it's interesting because I've got so many friends that, talk about us being on a prison planet, and I don't feel that at all. I mean, I'm looking out for you, and if I look a bit distracted, it's because we've got a fox at the moment that's in our garden, sitting there right with our cats, and I'm just keeping an eye on them. So I am quite protective over my cats. But it's beautiful. You know what your perception, when you look at things with a new set of eyes, with a new vibration, then everything starts to shift. And I'm seeing a lot of people do that. I'm seeing a lot of people take their attention off the outside noise. So over here, you probably don't know, I'm laughing because we've had the coronation of King Charles this weekend, and it's caused so much division again. But just don't watch it if it doesn't like you. But it's like, if you're going to consciously put things into your awareness that are causing you a lot of anger, frustration, negative emotions, then just don't watch it. Make those simple choices that are going to make the difference between whether you're going to have a lovely, fulfilling day or whether you're going to have a miserable day.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that was going on,
It's just
in my reality, he's not a king,
Absolutely. We can choose how we do that. So for the next, for the summertime coming up, you're already very busy. You've got planned, but what is your personal focus in terms of, are there areas of yourself that you're consciously working on? Are there certain things you want to achieve? What are you focusing on at the moment?
Well, lately I haven't been able to write. I did mention that I was going to be writing a sequel to Our Cosmic Origin. So one of my goals this summer is to just take some time off to just focus and write and meditate. So I might, there might be a few times where I go into hermit mode.
Yeah.
Like, I probably won't be on social media for a few days or a week or two and just focus on my meditation, on my downloads, and just continue writing. So that's
Love
my
it.
goal for the summer. Even though I do have several conferences that I was scheduled to attend. I have the Mount Shasta conference in June. I think June 21st to the 23rd, 21st to the 24th, or 22nd to 24th. It's one of those days. It's on a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I also have the Stairway to the Stars in Las Vegas conference, and I think that one is in September. I'm not sure. So I still have a few conferences that I have to attend, but in between, I believe that this summer I'm going to really focus on exploring and expanding my own spirituality by just meditating and going back into hermit mode here and there.
Yeah.
And every now and then come out and share information.
I think that's really wonderful. We have to allow ourselves that time. That's certainly on my agenda as well. And if you could look into your crystal ball and think, right, where would you like to see, rather than on a personal level, I won't put that position on you, but, if you would like to see, okay, on a global level, just some key things that you would really hope that are, by the end of the summer, for example, that you're going to see some big shifts in, what would they be?
The exposure of all the corruption. I know we've all been saying this, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's coming. It's just, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the only reason why it seems like things have been delayed is because of the timeline wars that is taking place in the future between us, well, a superhuman version of us, and AI. So at the end of the millennium, there's one final conflict, which actually I reveal in the last chapter, not the last chapter, but the added chapter of my book. For those that haven't had a chance, I did add a new chapter. This is the new book. right here.
Love it.
Yeah, I did add a new chapter, and this new chapter reveals what happens after the millennium.
Right.
So because of the fact that things are constantly fluctuating due to the timeline war that's taking place from the future, things are shifting. But it doesn't mean that the forces of light, haven't won the battle. We have. So I would say that one thing that I'm looking forward to by the end of the summer is the exposure of the dark cats, and they're bringing them to trial in the side, and that way even the unawakened could snap out of their hypnosis and say, "Oh wow, everyone that we called a conspiracy theorist was right." You know what I mean? Yeah,
it would be wonderful, because it does feel to me that we do need that clearing, because that would be such a huge mass energy shift. It would just move everything along at a much greater pace. So fantastic. I absolutely love it. Yeah, I'm feeling really positive about how things are going, because I'm just removing myself and putting my attention where I don't want it to go, and it just makes such difference. Anything else you want to share before we finish tonight?
Yeah, I just want to warn people that we all have the gift and the ability to receive information from the galactics, from the divine, or anything higher than our current reality. There is no just one individual who is the sole emissary or the sole medium between the galactics, the divine, and humanity. So anybody who claims that they are the only emissaries of the galactics or the only emissary of the divine, and that there is no other instrument for the divine but themselves, is suffering from a severe case of ego-driven Messiah complex mentality. And all they're doing is they're trying to create a cult.
Yeah.
I am against that. Every single one of us is an instrument and channel for the galaxies. We just have to learn how to do it, how to tap in through meditation. So I just wanted to warn people out there that if you hear of anyone claiming that they are the only channel or the only instrument between man and galactics or man and God, they're full of crap.
Completely.
Stay away from those. Yeah, because those are the people that are driven by ego and power, and really it's like a cultish mentality, and that's the last thing we need in this community is another religion, because even religions are cults. They're just big cults. So we don't need another person coming in saying I'm the only medium, I'm the only emissary of the galactics. That's bullcrap. We all are. I don't consider myself the only cosmic ambassador. I think every starseed is a cosmic ambassador, and I pointed that out. Every single starseed, every celestial that incarnated, that took that call, is an intermediary between the galactics and humanity. In other words, they're all ambassadors of the cosmos. I'm not the only cosmic ambassador. Everyone is. We just have to understand and remember why we're here. And so yeah, I just wanted to warn people about that, about these cultish little cliques that are starting to develop in our community. Stay away from that. And also, this is a time to really just own your own power. I understand that there are ascended beings, ascended masters that are helping the evolution from behind the scenes. I understand that there are seraphim, that there are different levels of angels that are helping us. But ultimately, what it boils down to is you have to realize that you are it. You have to bring your power to yourself and your own higher self, which is the Christ. We're all fragments of the one. So this is a time where we have to just become our own master. We have to go within and get answers. Yes, thank God that there's many helpers, right? All these beautiful beings that are helping the elements, the fairies, the dragons. Yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. But ultimately, it boils down to we're entering an age where you have to only depend on yourself. You have to, no more crutches, no more external forces that we pray to. It boils down to your own connection to your higher self, which is the Christ. And then once you fuse that, then you become the Christ. And that's what the second coming of the Christ is the Christ mind being born in all of us. And don't give your power to some saint, ascended being, or angel. bring that power back to yourself as the Christ that you are. And also, I would like to point out that I will be doing a book signing and lecture in Orange County, California, this coming Saturday, the 13th of May, at the Bodai Studio in Anaheim. And that's spelled B-O-T-I, Bodai, like Buddha, Botai, Botai they call it. And I will be there from 2 to 6. For those that live in Orange County, seating is limited. Make sure that you guys get your seats, call to get your seats. And the address for that is 607 South Harvard Boulevard in Anaheim. So I will be there this Saturday, the 13th, from 2 to 6 at the Bodai Studio.
Brilliant.
And
What about your courses, Ismael? Are you still doing the courses, and have you got some spaces on upcoming courses?
I actually do. Yeah, I have some room left for the Starseed Cosmology. Oh, I'm going to start teaching 2 classes now. The Starseed Cosmology and the Starseed Astrology. This coming June. That's when it starts, June. I have spaces for June. Now, the astrology is what we do is we take your natal chart, and based on the time that you were born, in the day, of course, in the city, we're able to pinpoint exactly what star system you originated from. And I did mine, and it did validate that I originated in Lyra. So that was good, on planet Avium, which is what I've been saying. So yeah, I'm going to start teaching Starseed Cosmology and Starseed Astrology. And the website for that is cosmicarts.org or cosmicarts.com. I'll go ahead and give it to you so that we could.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure, as usual, all the links below to your Instagram, to your one official YouTube channel, even though you're everywhere on everyone else's YouTube channel, and obviously how you can get the book and the courses. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the time I speak to you. I always love our conversations. I'm absolutely so happy to see that you are able to be meeting all these people, stepping out there, doing what you're really on purpose doing. So thanks, Ismael, and I'm sure we'll be back again soon.
Thank you, Catherine. It's always a pleasure to be here. And also, for those that want to get the new version of my book, make sure you get it through the link that I give Catherine, because if you just go directly through Amazon, they're going to send you the old edition. And this one has been restructured, re-edited, so it reads a lot more clearly. I was actually sabotaged. The other one was edited, but right before it went into print, they reorganized things, or they messed things up, and they made it seem like the words were rearranged, and a lot of misspellings. But this one has everything's corrected here. And I also added another chapter that reveals what happens after the ascension. So
yeah, we'll get that. So all the links will be in the description box below. Enjoy. Make sure you just take that information, do whatever resonates with you, and most importantly, appreciate the beauty of everything around you and everyone. Thanks, Ismael. See you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And if you feel inspired, please do share with your friends and family. My goal is to inspire as many people as I can to live their best lives, to stay curious, and to raise their consciousness and that of the collective. So to do this, I need to reach as many people as possible, and this needs your help. If you feel drawn, would you be willing to share your favourite episode with 5 different people? This helps us spread the word and also helps me encourage some exciting new guests to take part in this podcast. If you feel drawn to do that, I will be very, very grateful. All the links and discount codes where applicable for all the products that I support are on my 2 websites, catherineedwards.life and catherineedwardsacademy.com. All of the products are personally tried and tested by me, my family, and my clients. And finally, please do press the follow or subscribe button, depending which platform you're listening on. And above all, stay curious and stay free.